Hello, everyone. Great White Northerner here, and I thought I would talk briefly about a topic that seems to need some clarification to the general public. Recently, there have been a rash of headlines discussing the removal of legal tender status from many of our older bills, notably the $1, the $2, the $25, the $500, and the $1,000 bills. It's just those five that are affected by this. So, what does this mean? Because there's a tremendous amount of confusion over this, and to be honest, some of the headlines don't help. Let me first say, before we go on, these bills will still have value and be accepted by your local banks after January 1st. You just won't be able to use them in a store to buy goods and services. That's what the legal tender part is about. Most of us weren't using them for that anyhow. Here's the press release. I will give you a moment to pause and read this, but I will also put a link to the Bank of Canada website where this information is posted in the description down below. Note the date of May 31st, 2019. That's how long ago this was made public, and it's only now that the headlines are popping up and creating some panic. Most people are assuming that losing legal tender status will make them worthless, but that is not the case. These bills will always be able to be returned to any local bank or directly to the Bank of Canada for redemption of their face value. So, 5 different types of bills are having their legal tender status removed, none of which are commonly used or in circulation today. The $1 notes stopped being issued in 1989, the $2 notes in 1996, the $25 note was a commemorative note, and it and the $500 note were both discontinued shortly after they were issued in 1935. And finally, the $1,000 note stopped being issued back in 2000. Most of us haven't even seen these last 3 notes ever. Like, I've seen a few $1,000 notes, but I've never seen a $500 or a $25 note. And the $1 and the $2 notes were primarily being hoarded by collectors and really were never spent in stores anyway. One of the ultimate purposes of my channel is to help other collectors and the average non-collector to understand the value that they have in their old money. So it seems appropriate that I talk about this. So kind of what prompted me to do this, I was in a coin store the other day and have heard similar conversations in the teller lines at the banks, as people have walked in desperately asking if they can still get rid of their old bills because they read or were told that they won't be worth anything after January 1st. And of course, most times they're not being corrected, and those people are happy to take their money at face value, whether it's a coin store or whether it's the bank. Now, the coin store I was in did actually sit down with the clients, and I could overhear part of the conversation, and they were talking about some of the value of some of the coins. So kudos to them that they didn't take advantage of the situation. Now, some of these bills could be worth many times their face value. Don't get me wrong, the chance that you have a particularly expensive bill is fairly low, and most are still only worth face value, but many of them do have value to collectors for various reasons. And the ironic thing is, not only will they continue to have value to a collector after January 1st, they might even have more, as so many bills are being returned to the banks right now and ultimately being destroyed, which will make the ones remaining even more rare. So headlines like this are part of the problem. You can see in the second sentence that they state that essentially the bills will become obsolete. Now, people are interpreting this as worthless, and as is so common in our world today, most people don't read much past the headline. A couple paragraphs further down in this article, they do say that these bills will not lose value and can be taken into any bank. But it seems pretty obvious to me, as I watch the panic and listen to the tellers, that a lot of people just never read that far. Also, I see lots of older $5, $10, and $20 bills being returned as well, and they are not, even the older ones, included in this loss of legal tender status. They are still usable even in stores, but I would guess that with all this information, many stores will stop taking them as well, just out of ignorance of the rules. So I can't say this strongly enough. There is significant value in some of these older bills. It is highly dependent on factors like condition and rarity. Generally speaking, the newer they are, the more crisp and uncirculated they'll need to be to have any potential value. So it is likely that many older bills aren't worth much more than their face value. But there are many that are, and with a little bit of research or by taking them to a reputable coin dealer, you can ensure that you aren't giving away a lot of additional collectible value to a bank simply for the face value. But if you have established that they aren't collectible, then you should know that you still have the right to turn those in for face value at your local bank. You just won't be able to spend your $1 and $2 bills in stores anymore. The other issue that prompted me to make this video is the fact that it is not just the general public that are misinformed, but many tellers don't really know what is actually happening here with these bills either. I've been in many bank branches where the tellers were telling me and others that after January 1st, these bills will be worthless and they won't be accepting them anymore. Now, as we've discussed, that is not true. They may think that, but that is their own lack of knowledge, and it is being reinforced by some customers who are telling them that, but it is certainly not the case. So, if you find these bills after January 1st, 2021, check them with the dealer for collectible varieties, and then take them to the bank. They cannot refuse them. If they continue to stick to their guns, you can press the issue knowing that you are right, or just go to a different bank or even a different branch of the same bank and save yourself the hassle and frustration of arguing with them, because most bank branches will understand that they still have to accept these at face value. And now, as you can see, I have several bills laid out here that I've recently bought from my local bank branches. I haven't found anything super awesome in my searches, but I did find some interesting stuff, so I thought I would share some of these with you now. So just to show you, the $10 bill that I have here, I actually picked up at one of my local branches, and it was turned in as part of this panic to get rid of old bills. This one here is from 1937. This is an old bill. It is pretty worn. It's been folded up. It's been put in somebody's pocket. It's been in a wallet, whatever the case. It's got some pen marks on it. But an older bill like this, they're fairly rare, fairly hard to come by, and there is very likely some value in this to some collectors who may not have one of these, or they're hard to find. So for a small premium, you probably could sell this to a collector. Same thing with the $1 bill is also a 1937. This one's in even worse condition, but there may be some value to people who are looking to fill a hole in their collection. So worth hanging on to. And I actually ended up picking up this $1 and this $2 bill, which also is fairly well circulated. It's a little bit newer. It does not have the devil's face in the queen's hair, which is a variety that is quite valuable, so it's something to be watching for. And there's lots of videos out there that you can look up, or information you can look up to see how to detect the devil's face. But it is in this section right here, just at the back of the queen's head, and that's where you're looking for that devil face. Anyway, I think they owed me $3 and change. They were going to give me a loonie and a toonie, and I decided, you know what, I'll just take these two bills instead. That'll be my change, and I'm happy with that. Some of the other ones that I've got here are just some of the newer bills in very crisp, uncirculated condition. These have not been folded or ever used, taken right out of a bundle, and they're in series. It's questionable as to whether you could get a whole lot of extra value for notes that are in series. Typically, collectors are looking for very specific serial numbers, but, again, they were uncirculated, and who knows what the value will be in the future. So I did pick these up because they were in series with one another. I also picked up this $2 bill because it was very close or very similar to a radar note in that it is... you can see here that it's a 9930933. Had this been 9930993, that would have been what's considered a radar note, where the number going down is the same in reverse to the number going back up from the middle number there. So, it should have been 9930399 is what you'd be looking for. Anyway, I picked it up anyway because it was in pretty decent condition, and you never know, somebody might. It only has 3 numbers in it, so tri-number notes are also something that some people are looking for, although typically way more collectible if they only have 1 or 2 different numbers in the serial numbers. So not a whole lot of value there, but definitely something worth looking at. And then I've got some other ones I'm going to bring in here. I'll show you what they are as well. So along the same lines as the other $1 bills that I picked up, these are all crisp and uncirculated as well. I've got 2 in series here. Again, nothing special about the serial number other than the one right above this would have been a nice number to have got. It would have been 0576057. This one here is the same sort of idea. It is 0778077. So it's not a radar note. A radar note is where you have it kind of come down. So 0778 and then 770 is what you're actually looking for. But it is kind of a unique tri-number note. And so I did pick that up again for $1. It sure doesn't hurt me to have that in the collection. Same thing here. I've got a couple more. Now these are notes that, or serial numbers that may be of interest to some collectors. So one of the collectible serial numbers that people are looking for are what are called birthday notes. Now in the States, they have more numbers in their serial numbers, so they're a little bit more clear on a US dollar bill for a birthday note because they have an extra digit in there. But anyway, in this one here, you can see 2001. So 2001, 057. So May 7th, 2001 is the birth date that's on there. And I actually have a series of them. So I have a 2001, 05, 057, 058, and 059. So if somebody had a birthday or anniversary, or they were looking to collect birthday notes, that one's kind of an interesting one to have stumbled across. And again, for $2 a piece, they were well worth picking up. And then I have exactly the same thing in a slightly newer $2 note. Again, 3 of them in series, and the birthday note, or the birthday, is the 1961, again May, 1961, May 14th, May 15th, and May 16th. So those were kind of cool. Really nice to have grabbed those. And then I'm going to bring in a couple others that I found as well that are a little bit more common as far as being worth some extra value here. So these last 2 notes are ones that will have a little bit more value to them. And I'll go over why in a second, but yeah, as you can see, they're both the newer notes as in terms of, they're not some of the older 1930s or 1950s notes. 1976 is the date that these were issued. So they're fairly common. You want to make sure that you're definitely getting notes that are in, good, crisp condition in this age range. Anything with any kind of creases or bends is definitely going to start really devaluing that note, and any kind of additional value they might have from serial numbers or whatever on them is going to diminish as well because of the condition of the note. So the reason why these ones have a little bit more value is these are what are called a star note. So a star note denotes a bill that was produced that was deemed to be unacceptable for circulation right at the mint. So they printed the note, and it came out, damaged, misprinted, whatever, and they pulled it out of circulation. And so then what they do is they rerun and replace that note with a starred note. So the starred tells us that this is actually a replacement note, and there would be far, far fewer of those in circulation. So I have 2 of them, found these just the other day at a bank, both with a star on them, and definitely some value in there. I have been looking, really depends on the collector and who's looking and what kind of auction you could get for them. But, you might get, it depends, anywhere from 4 to 10 times value, depending on who's looking for them. I may be wrong in that. I'm not a big note collector. I am specifically just collecting notes because they're readily available at the moment at the bank. So I'm picking them up when I can find them. So that's it. Primarily, my purpose was to talk about the issue that people are kind of getting a little bit misinformed with what's happening in the marketplace or within our bills right now. Your money is still retaining value. The government would never turn around and say, you paid good money for this, or you got paid for services that you did with this money, and now we're just going to take that value away. That just would not happen. So you can definitely take them back to your banks, but before you do, make sure you're looking for stuff like this, because that can definitely add value to that bill. All right, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this informative. I do try and make not only the coin roll hunting videos, but anything that I can find that will be of value to you as citizens of Canada or even the United States that are kind of looking at our money, or other collectors. And hopefully I can give you value so that you can have a little bit more knowledge when you're looking at your money and you're doing your own coin collecting or coin roll hunting or whatever the case may be. So please like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this, and have a wonderful day. Take care.